Hello everyone, welcome back to Skill Streams. Are you guys tired of writing the same code again and again? What if I tell you in object oriented programming, you can write the code once and reuse it forever? Welcome to the powerful concept of inheritance. In today's video, we are starting with one of the most important topic of OOP, that is inheritance. So what is inheritance? In simple terms, we can say an inheritance means one class can take or acquire or inherit properties from another class. What does this mean? In inheritance, we deal with more than one class. Okay, so in inheritance, I will have a base class and I'll have one derived class. So basically, base class is also called as an old class. A derived class is also called as a new class. Why we are calling it as an old class? Because the base class is already implemented. The implementation, the code is already written for this base class. Why we are calling derived class as a new class? Okay. As a programmer, I need to write some code. Okay, so I will write the code for that, suppose my derived class. Now if already existing code is there for some features or some properties which I need to include in my new class program, so I will not write the same logic, same code again and again. Okay, if my code is already written, I will just use that existing code in my derived class. So that is what inheritance is. I am using the code of base class into derived class. That is called as reusing the code of base class into derived class. Now, advantages of inheritance. As we have just discussed about the code reusability. So this is the main advantage of inheritance. It allows code reusability in the sense my base class code is already written. I have an implementation for this base class. Then in my derived class, I want to use the code of base class. So instead of writing it again, I am just reusing it. Okay. The second advantage is once the base class is written, we can call it anywhere in different situations. Means I have this code. If this is a best code in this sense in terms of time complexity, number of lines of code or space complexity, right? If the logic is good, it is giving me best time complexity, it is giving me best time space complexity, then I can say my code is a best code, right? If the code is already written, I want to use some of the properties from that particular code. If I want to use some methods of that code, if I want to use the entire code, or if just I want to use a part of that code which is already written, I want to use it in my new class, in my new program. Okay, so I can simply inherit it. I can simply use this by using inheritance. No need of writing the logic, thinking for the logic. If it is already written, if it is already there, just reuse it. Okay. Now, using existing code, it saves time and increases program variability, right? If a code is there, I will use it, I will save the time, and if I want to do some changes in the already existing code, I can do that also according to the program's requirement and the situation. So, inheritance helps us to reduce the repeated code. It saves time. It makes the program easy to understand and easy to maintain. Now, types of inheritance. In inheritance, we have 5 types: single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hybrid inheritance, and hierarchical inheritance. So today we will be just focusing on single inheritance. Okay. As the name only indicates, single inheritance. A single inheritance is an inheritance in which we will have only one base class and we will have only one derived class. One derived class, one base class, that is. Okay. Now, you can see the example. So I have an example. I have a faculty based class. I have a student derived class. So now inheritance is what? Reusing the existing code. So now if I say faculty as a base class, means it is an old class. So its code is already implemented, right? So for faculty, suppose I have data members as faculty name, department. Okay, I have some methods like get data method for taking users input, put data method for display. Okay, so this code for this is already implemented, right? Now for derived class, that is also called as a new class, right? If I want to write the code for this student class, which is a derived class, I have some data members like suppose student name, roll number, percentage, right? If I have some methods like input method for taking users input, if I have a display function for displaying the output, right? Now I will write the code for the student class. Now in student class I need some information about faculty as well, so I will not write the same code again and again, right? I will use the concept of C plus I will use the concept of inheritance. Okay, I will use the concept of inheritance, means I will inherit the properties. I will inherit, or I can say I can reuse the existing code of this faculty class into my derived class. Okay, now let us see the syntax, how we can write it. So the syntax for writing a code for single inheritance is: class is a keyword, base class name. Suppose here we have a base class name faculty. Okay, so faculty. Now variable name and methods. So this entire is for base class. Now how to write for derived class? So again this class is a keyword. This is a derived class name. So from example we can say this is suppose a student class and I have visibility mode and a base class name. And these are the data members and methods of derived class. Okay, we will see what is the meaning of visibility mode in next slides. Now, so when we are talking about single inheritance, you can say the real life example of inheritance. Okay, a parent class and a child class. So we can say here is all the properties of father are inherited to child, right? Suppose we say na ki like the eyes, the nose, the child has inherited from father or mother. The features are same like father or mother, right? So that is what inheriting the properties, inheriting the features. So this is a real life example of a child acquiring the properties of its father. Okay. Now coming here to the visibility mode, we have a visibility mode public. Okay, which means if I am using a public visibility mode, the data members of a base class data members, I can use the base class data members in derived class if I am using public visibility mode without any restriction. Public means accessible to everyone and we can access it from anywhere in a program. Means we are not giving any kind of restrictions to the data members of base class into the data members of derived class. Okay, so this is a class keyword, name of base class. This is what a visibility mode. And this A is a name of base class. So from A, the data members I can access it publicly, means the public members of base class A will become public member of derived class B. I can use the data of A class into B class without any restriction. So that is what the meaning of public visibility mode. Public member of base class becomes public member of derived class. Okay. Now, the next visibility mode is private. So I have a keyword, this derived class visibility mode, again that is a private visibility mode, and A is a base class. So I have A, I have B. Okay. Now the public members of base class, if I am inheriting it privately, all the members will become private in derived class. Means I am giving a sort of restriction to access the data of base class into derived class by using a visibility mode private. Okay, so I am giving restriction. Suppose if I am not using private visibility mode, if I am using public visibility mode, it is accessible to everyone. I can use it in another class also, I can use it in more than one class also, but in private I am giving some kind of restriction. I am restricting, means the public members of base class becomes private member of derived class. Okay. Now if it is private, so only the functions of derived class can access public members of base class. Okay. Now as we have studied about this visibility mode public and private, and we have seen the syntax, so let's start with writing an example of a simple code for single inheritance. We will write the code for this. I have a base class furniture, data members are given to you. I have another class which is called as a derived class. From that derive a class. From that derive a class means from furniture I need to derive a class bookshelf, having data members as number of shelves. Okay. Now for writing a code of single inheritance, okay, Now class, name of base class is furniture, right? I have data members, length, comma, width, comma, height, semicolon. Now I have to take these values from user. So I am using a method called as getData method. I will write cout statement and cin statement. Cout, enter the values of length, width and height. Cin, length, width, height. So this function is for taking user's input. Now for displaying I am using put data. So just for displaying I will be just using cout statement. Cout length equal to the name of variable. Same, cout width equal to width. Cout height equal to height, right? Now we have written the code for this base class. Now it's time to write the code for derived class. So class derived class is bookshelf, okay, colon, visibility mode public, then write the name of base class, that is furniture. Now we need to write for the data variables for this, number of shelves. Now void get data 1. Suppose I am taking this. If you want you can take one more section for this. Void get data cout. I need to ask the user enter number of shelves. Cin number of shelves. Okay, now I need to display it. Void put data 1. So just for displaying I will use cout statement. What is the name of variable? So we have written the code for the derived class. Now we will write void main. Void main. So in inheritance we always create object of derived class. So my derived class name is bookshelf. B is an object. Okay, so now I want to use the code of base class. So with the help of object, and it is publicly inherited, we have used visibility mode as public, so I can call the get data of first base class. I can call the get data of derived class. Now we have taken the input. Now I will call put data of base class. Now I will call put data of derived class. Okay. So now we can execute this code. So enter the value of length, height, width and height. We have entered it. Now enter the number of shelves. So you can see the output. The first line, enter the value of length, width and height. We have taken it from the base class. Okay. And the enter the number of shelf, we have taken it from the derived class. And with the help of put data, we have displayed the size, and with the help of put data 1, that is a derived class method, we have displayed the number of shelf. Okay. So now we can see it for private. So if I am using the visibility mode as private, I'll get an error. Okay, because privately we cannot access. See, get data is inaccessible, so we cannot access it with the help of object. Fine. So if I am using a private access specifier, so we have seen error, right? Private means it is not accessible. We are giving some kind of restriction, right? So how we will call this get data and put data? With the help of public, we can directly call with the help of object, right? There was no restriction. But now when it is privately inherited, so for this what I need to do is I need to call this base class function get data and put data inside the public functions of derived class. So derived class function, we have get data 1 and put data 1. Inside that we have called get data of base class and put data of base class. Now the changes which we have made in main is, with the help of object I am just calling get data 1 and put data 1, which are the methods of derived class. Okay. Now see the output. Again, so we have got the output. So this is how we can use inheritance for reusing the existing code, and this is how we have used the visibility modes public and private. So guys, you can solve the rest two examples, and if you have any doubt you can put your doubts in the comment section. Okay, thank you.
Learn, build, upgrade.